Uh, let's go. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. Let's call this a mini-sode, a little mini episode of Hoop Sense today. It's your first time hanging out with us, do us a favor, subscribe to the Count the Dings channel, get the like buttons going. Let's get the algorithm bumping. Maybe a 5-star review on the podcast. Trey, what's going on, man? Good to see you.
I know, man. Basketball season's what's going on, man. We still got some movement. It ain't too many big names outside of Kevin Durant, but teams are getting better. I will say that.
Yeah, it's been kind of fun seeing teams go for it. I think
Yeah.
sometimes when you see a team like everybody's talking dynasty or whatever for OKC after they win one, but like I both in the East and the West, right? You've seen the Rockets are going for it, the Nuggets are
hmm
going for it, the Clippers
hmm
seem like they're making some moves there.
hmm
I was kind of bummed to see our guy Norman Powell bounce out, but I think he'll have a fun time in Miami.
Man, he gonna get a hell of an opportunity in Miami. I've been seeing such of the ridiculous takes of, he's gonna be coming off the bench, and
No, that's crazy.
no, he's not. They traded for this guy to actually start and contribute 20 points per game, career high in points per game, field goal
Yeah.
percentage, etc. Man, and I think he comes in with a free slate to actually become who he wants to be in Miami.
Yeah, and just build off of what he did in Los
And they
Angeles
actually
this
share
past.
the ball. That's the crazy thing about it. They're talking about Tyler Hero might not give him the ball and he has to play behind Bam. No, the ball's going to be moved so much that he's going to actually get some looks and some opportunities to really make some noise.
Well, and he can score in so many different ways, right? Like he can attack the rim, he can play it off the pick and roll, and he's just like believe he's like was he 44 something like that percent from catch and shoot this past season too.
hmm
Like he's gonna. I question anyone that thinks Norm's coming off the bench if they've like looked at the depth chart of the Miami Heat. Like I don't know if they're thinking
Like
this is
somebody
my.
said he was coming off the bench behind Davion Mitchell.
Come on, man.
Respected Davion Mitchell, but they didn't trade Norman Powell for him to back him up. I'll say
No,
that. And if so,
no.
Pat Riley, I'll check him out myself.
Yeah. No, there's no way. I mean, like that's not even right, like a knock on Davion. I think Davion will still have like play plenty of minutes there, and shout out to him for like getting himself a contract with Miami. But like you look at that roster, and Wiggins is there right now. I know he's been in a lot of trade rumors with the Lakers. I don't know if anything's actually going to come to fruition with that. But I mean, it's like they could play a couple of different ways. Like you could roll out Hero, Davion, Norman Powell, like the of 3-guard lineup, and then have that with Wiggins and Bam, or maybe they
Mhm.
go super big with Ware and Bam. So that to me is crazy. I actually thought that was a good trade for everybody too. Like I think the Clippers needed to get a little bit more big help, right? They added Brooke Lopez. I thought that was kind of nice. And now there's all that talk about like assuming Bradley Beal is going to go the Damian Lillard route
Well, I
of get
think that was the reason why. I mean, it's in hopes of. So, I
sure.
mean, they're not supposed to do this, but I assume that there is some type of conversation or behind the scenes agreement that he ends up there and he's able to join that team
Yeah.
once, he's bought out. But I mean, ideally, that's the reason why they took a gamble of, hey, do we pay Norman Powell all this money or do we go and get Bradley Beal for a discount? You know what I mean? In hopes that he can kind of get out of that, wash the Phoenix stink off of him
Yeah.
and get back to doing what he does best. So it's kind of interesting. I don't think it guarantees. My wild card is that Bradley Beal ends up in Milwaukee, but we'll see. I just
Yeah,
highly
that
doubt that. There's a lot of people pursuing him, despite the drama and the bad results in Phoenix.
Yeah, and I guess it depends like what he wants too, right? Because I do think the Clipper situation is a good situation too. It keeps you in on the West Coast and in LA, but
hmm
it also is kind of similar to the role that he was playing with Phoenix, right? With like behind Booker and KD. In this situation, it would be behind like Harden and Kawhi. Where like Milwaukee, I mean, they are so desperate for any sort of backcourt help, right? Right
hmm
now, the offense is. I mean, it's Kevin
I
Porter
think that I
Jr.
think that's a more realistic selling point. You
Mhm.
know what I mean? If he wants to come in and still be, considered a top option, I think that really is good. But on paper, everybody is making the right moves to get
Yeah.
better. And you could say, oh, Bradley Beal and Giannis would be a scary combo, or Bradley Beal with the Clippers, or yada, yada, yada. They still got to go through the OKC Thunder. I'm going to
Mhm.
keep reminding people that they are the champs. And speaking of the OKC Thunder, Chet Holmgren got that bag.
Woo! A fully guaranteed bag.
Yeah.
There's no parachute on it. That's 250 million. Man, I get it. I get that the conversations need to happen,
Mhm.
but can we just like let him get his money without immediately being like, well, what does this mean for the team in 3 years when we're talking about the second
I
year?
mean, that's gonna happen. You can't control that
Yeah.
narrative. I mean, before they even won it, they were like, that's one of the teams that's going to be broken up and they may not benefit from it. But I mean, at the end of the day, that's their own issue to handle. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? When you commit that money to a young talent, you got to kind of lock that up.
Yeah.
And I think they're learning from their mistakes with the 2012 team. So
Mhm.
at the end of the day, they're gonna do what's best for them.
Yeah, and I like
So
rewarding their guys. You
mhm,
win a title, you prove that you're worth your worth or whatever. And like I'm glad he got his money. I think he
mhm.
deserved it. Shouts to him. Yeah, that was a fun one. And it sounds like J Dub's next. It sounds like Jalen Williams is there in
Go on, commit the money, man. Y'all won one. Try to do it again.
yeah.
Commit the money.
Figure it out
Um,
later. You
speak,
figure that
speak,
part out later.
speaking of figuring it out later, Nikola Jokic
Oh
turns
yeah.
down his offer. And for people that are putting him in a trade machine, no, he doesn't want to go anywhere else. He just wants $80 more million, which
Yeah.
he overly deserves. I mean, but you had to wait. And obviously, they've been in full communication with him to let him know, hey, if you complete a healthy season and we get to that point, we are going to pay you that money. Just
Yeah.
know. But at the end of the day, it is a huge gamble because anything can happen. So you are totally betting on yourself in that particular moment. But Jokic, I just don't see anything changing, and we'll be
No.
talking about his nice generational contract for
Yeah.
for for some time.
There was like 1% of my brain that was like, this is Denver, and Denver does like to penny pinch. And I wonder if they get a look at what the books
Mhm.
could look like if they were like, well, what if we spin off Jokic? But you can't. Like, you get a guy like that, you pay him as much as you can and just have him hang around forever. But that was funny where I think it took everybody a moment where they're like, wait,
Mhm.
he's not doing an extension. It's like, yeah, because it's $80 million. That's why he's not doing an extension yet. But yeah, that'll be a fun. I think Denver is going to be in a fun spot next season, and it was cool seeing a clip from what I believe is going to be the young man in the three now that they call that podcast where they have Cam Johnson and Tim Hardaway Jr. are both making an appearance, I believe, tomorrow. But they shared a little clip about getting their reaction when they found out that they get to play with Nikola Jokic next season. And I mean, it's the biggest smile I've seen Tim Hardaway Jr. have in like
I
maybe
mean,
10
he knows
years.
he's gonna eat, man.
Oh
Like
yeah.
anybody that's catch and shoot, you're gonna have a career year because he's gonna
Hmm.
find you, one of the best bigs that passes out of the post. All you
Yeah.
got to do is relocate and just be ready to shoot and make shots, man. And shooters they have cold nights and sometimes they get bad passes, but
Yeah.
again, for somebody that draws so much attention, it's going to be tough to guard them, man. And I think that Denver made some good moves, man, despite all the drama that they had to close out the year. And yeah, I'm truly interested to see what's going on. Like I said, there's so many different moves, man, as far as like, the Knicks picking up Jordan Clarkson, the Cam Whitmore trade,
Yeah.
sending him to Washington. Washington has like young core. I'm interested to see who else is on the move if they're going to actually move, guys like Marcus Smart
Hmm.
to dump that and potentially see if they're going to keep CJ McCollum. I mean, like none of these guys are permanent at home, and then Boston's still actively trying to shop Anthony Simon. So, this is we're not done. We're not
No,
done.
we're not done. Yeah, and
Far from done.
the Boston stuff, man, I was doing some research on them, and they were just looking at their potential starting five, and it's just like you were saying with Jokic, where anything can happen in a season, right? And you look at the Celtics starting five from last season to this upcoming season, where it looks like it's going to be Nehemias Queta, Georges Niang, Jaylen Brown, Derek White, and then either Simons or Peyton Pritchard. And it's
Mhm.
just like how much can change, on a drop of a hat.
Oh,
And
it
like,
happens every year. It's almost
yeah.
like the NFL, man. You lose a tackle and your whole
Hmm.
opportunity to win is is dwindled. I really, 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 really like what the Pacers did, though.
Yeah,
You
me
know,
too.
Miles Turner, respectful in this franchise over there in Indiana, but they got Jay Huff. They
Yeah.
bring James Wiseman. They don't run a lot of post action, so it's not like, oh, the sky is falling. I do think that Miles Turner was a huge part of the Pacers' identity
Sure.
and cornerstone of the franchise. But, you know, Huff, you talk about over 200 attempts, man. The 3-point percentage is there. He doesn't have, have to pay him a bunch of money. And then
Yeah.
you got Wiseman still trying to prove who he is. You know what I mean? He logged in one game as a Pacer. So, and Tyrese Halliburton really liked that guy. So,
and they get Isaiah Jackson back too. I think
yeah,
it's not going to be what we saw, with no Halliburton and no Miles Turner. Obviously, that looks a little bit different, but it is such a well-coached team, and I think we said this last episode, they haven't tanked. Like, they are anti-tank. So, like, you might say, oh, there's no Halliburton, no Miles Turner, this team is going to take a big step back. Maybe they try to get in the lottery. That they're still too talented, right? You still have Nembhard, Siakam, Benedict Mathurin, who showed some real signs there in the finals. I feel like he's going to get an opportunity to do a ton more. I think that's going to be fun. We need to bring back, though, a segment that we did in person quite a bit. But I feel like the Orlando Magic, the Magic Minute, man, Paolo Banchero, he got his full bag. And I feel like Orlando's looking around being like, why not us in the Eastern Conferences next season?
Hey, man, look, it's a Magic Minute. They're making the right moves. Again, getting even Wagner for the low. $5 million. Like, that was a crazy commitment still. I just think he just wanted to stay with his brother.
Yeah.
And felt like whatever it takes, and he enjoyed playing basketball. He probably didn't need that much money, just really doing it for the love. But man, it's a crazy opportunity, man, when you really think about it from that perspective. So
and they got Tyus Jones too. I thought that was like a pretty good under the radar.
I'm satisfied as a Magic fan. I am satisfied. I've been looking and begging for a guard to trade for Lonzo, to trade for Kobe White, any of the Bulls guards. And now you get a Jones who is efficient, going to run the offense, going to do the thing. Obviously, we're going to miss Cole Anthony and things of that nature, but solid, man. Solid.
And I know it didn't work in Phoenix last season for a bunch of different reasons, but I don't know if people forgot like how good Tyus Jones was. Like, I think if he is your number one point guard, maybe that gives you some limitations here. But knowing that, you are going to have Bane run the offense at times, Paolo will run it at times front. Like, just having an adult come in and be like, hey, let me get you a good shot this possession. I think that was such a good move. I'm really excited for Orlando. I mean, just the East in general. I think, like, of course, the Knicks hire Mike Brown, and I think that is going to be fun news for Jalen Brunson and Karl Anthony Towns. I feel like we're going to see offensively, they are going to pop off a little bit. I think you actually mentioned it on our show before it was officially finalized that you were like, Mike Brown is coming. Like, it is going to be.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have to report to anybody anymore, so I could sit on data if I want to say something. But I don't think a lot of people took it seriously, so it was cool.
Yeah.
It was funny just to leave it out there and let people just think I was joking or trolling. But I mean, I think they're gonna be good, man. Mike Brown gets a tough rap, man, just because you see people get fired and you think they're bad at their job. He actually is a good coach. He's gonna have them defend because he really cares about defense. And he's gonna have some great offensive actions for them, man. And I think he's gonna build that team out. I think the biggest story is moving Rick Brunson down the bench.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty surprising.
No, I don't think it's surprising at all, man. No? I think they just got to kind of get it back to a basketball team and not, not saying Rick Brunson didn't add any value to it, but, fill it out how it's supposed to go, man. And he didn't kick him off the staff. That could have went a whole nother way. So, I mean, he's still going to be there and he'll be all right. Just, let the head coach be the head coach.
Yeah, I know. I think this is good. I think it's good for them. And I think that's like a positive sign just to get that taken care of too before Summer League, like just be ready to go. But yeah, I think the East is just going to be a blast. Like I know usually they are the punching bag where it's pretty top heavy and then that's it. And I'm sure it is going to be a step down from like some of those Western Conference teams that we were talking about. But it does feel like if you told me Atlanta was sitting at the 1 seed in February, I wouldn't blink at it. Like I think a lot of teams did a lot of good action to set themselves up. And it's just like we said with the West too, it's just fun to see teams going for it instead of just being like, oh, it's not our year. We need to rebuild. There's some teams like actually taking shots at it. Let's do, I don't know. You have anything you're excited about with Summer League? Or are you excited not to be at Summer League? So like, where are you at? Is that, cause I'm flying out tomorrow morning, head into the 110-degree.
Well, I'm
extremely
happy not to be in Vegas anytime soon. I will be watching from the comfort of my home. I really liked what I'm seeing right now in Utah, with the Ace Bailey thing, and VJ Edgecombe, obviously he missed the game, with his thumb and things of that nature. But yeah, I mean, I don't buy too much in it. I just really want to see what guys are working on, watch them do a bunch of things that they're not going to do in regular games, and see the overreactions, man. Everybody can hoop in July, man. So I'm all about it. I mean, I have no complaints, man. It's just gonna be fun, man, to see guys out there, especially those free agents that run with certain teams, and hopefully they get a shot to make, add it to the roster.
Yeah, and for me, like too, especially the younger guys on good teams from like previous seasons. This is just a specific Celtics take, but somebody like a Baylor Shireman who was a first round pick last year, but didn't get an opportunity too much because that Celtics team was trying to win a title, and now you get to see like, all right, well, what does he have in his bag? Is he going to be able to impact the Celtics rotation this year? And you'll get a feel for that in Summer League. But you're right, the overreactions are always the best part.
I mean, my biggest overreaction from me is Bronny James load management. I think he needs all the reps he possibly can get. And if he's averaging like, I don't even say he don't even have to average 30, just average like 22.
Yeah.
And you showed me 2 consistent games averaging 22, park him, sit him down.
Yeah.
But I just feel like the whole idea of just like, if he's ever going to be a rotational guy in this league, like you got to give him the reps against actual pros. So
yeah.
I don't understand that process, but I trust Coach JJ. Shout out to my boy Nima. Get DeAndre signed.
Yeah.
So he's officially a Laker, and we'll see what that's gonna happen, man. So I'm just watching from afar. Got my fan hat on, you know what I mean, and seeing how the league plays out.
No, I'm looking forward to it. It's always, I think this is my 5th consecutive year going out, and it's always it's just a fun atmosphere to be around outside of the 110-degree heat. But it's fun, just fun to see that type of hoop. A couple other things too, and then we can wrap up, because this is a quick one here as it's getting a little bit quieter in the news. There are a couple of guys that have not found homes yet that I actually think probably have some say in where they go. And maybe the Chris Paul situation, I don't know if he's waiting until the Bradley Beal stuff gets worked out.
Well, I want to clear up some stuff for Chris Paul. I mean, because there's a lot of aggregators going out there saying he needs to be a starter or he's not going to play. The only thing that I honestly could back up for him is that he wants to play close to home.
Yeah.
And this is also his final season. I will say that. But he's just want to play on the West Coast, and he's open to coming off the bench. So I think ideally, if he goes to the Clippers, he will be coming off the bench. I think all this depends on where Bradley Beal goes, because if Bradley Beal is bought out and heads to the Clippers, then CP3 will be going to Phoenix.
Yeah.
If Bradley Beal goes to Milwaukee or those other teams listed, then Chris Paul will be back with the Clippers and potentially a reserve behind James Harden. So
and then
those are the things. And sometimes you got to wait. It's a pecking order of who's most sought after.
Yeah, I wonder if a similar thing's happening with Al Horford right now too, where I thought for sure he was going to the Golden State Warriors. That's where it seemed like all of the energy was pushing it. And now with the Jonas Valanciunas maybe deciding to go play in Greece instead of staying in Denver, I wonder if he's
that's an interesting situation too. It reminds me of Rudy Fernandez, but
great comp. Yeah.
Like overall, man, Jonas knows his value. He doesn't have to deal with the stress of playing on a bad roster or dealing with the politics or, just over-expect. He just want a free hoop. So I can see him still mentally checking out and trying to get back to, to cross the water. But you never know. Money talks, man. It might be a situation where he ends up staying.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see how that works out. And then like what the ripple effects of that, like if Al goes somewhere or if Al decides he wants to get in front of a microphone and start being a podcaster instead of a hooper. And then the last one too, Russ. I feel like we're still waiting for Russ to find a home.
I honestly thought Russ was going to end up in New York, but if
me too,
Houston brings him in, I wouldn't be mad at it.
Oh, that's a fun one too. I hadn't thought about that. That's like a good energy ball.
I say Russ or Dame for Houston.
Yeah. Man, I was really starting to, again, this is my fandom talking, but I was really trying to talk myself into Dame to Boston. Two guys healing and recovery together. And then all of a sudden, that looks like a pretty dangerous 5 next year. But nobody comes to Boston. nobody.
Yeah,
nobody
I mean,
Boston.
I don't know. I won't rule it out. But he's still getting other offers, and I think it's up to him, and he has all the leverage because he gets to kind of just ramp up and get his body right, get his mind right. I think it's more of the mind thing. These guys have the best doctors in the world, so they don't have a recovery plan like how we do. If I tore my Achilles, I'm out 13, 16 months.
You're sending emails only. That's all
they're going to be out 9 to 12 months. You get what I'm saying? And technically 9 because they're going to rehab like a MF. But it's more of the mental battle. You know what I mean? Am I going to be able to get to those spots and this, that, and the third? On the Mind the Game podcast, Steve Nash talked about how he sprained his ankle really bad and could not technically power off, going to his right side and shooting a certain shot, and how he had to work, and had to work on that for a year. So you imagine the actual turnaround of an Achilles, your athleticism, the confidence that is it going to pop again or whatever it else is, what else can kind of taper down. So, you got to kind of get to that point of just getting there, man. And I wish all the injured players a speedy recovery so that they can get to a point of, doing what they love, man, because it's agonizing, man, especially when you don't have any other hobbies or, obviously these dudes are fathers and they get the chance to spend time with family, but you never want to get parked early.
Yeah, well, right, especially when the career span is shorter than what like a normal typical job would be, right? So anytime a year gets knocked off, like you said, that becomes a mental battle too of dealing with that. I really do. I mean, to shout the Mind the Game pod, I thought that was a great 2-part episode with KD. I thought there was some like really good stuff.
Shouts to Bron not over talking, man. He allowed Kevin to talk. He asked some good questions. There's a lot of relatability, a lot of goat talk in there, man. Them 2 goats right there. Multiple, like LeBron James done played a lot of basketball, has a lot of respect from his peers, one of the best to ever do it. And the vulnerability of actually expressing his weakness amongst his peers, as free throws being one of his Achilles heels to, his game. And then just certain things, you know what I mean? Like, obviously, it was kind of like the Shaq Kobe moment of Durant and Steve Nash sitting down and talking about what happened in Brooklyn, you know what I mean? Like how they were connected, but he didn't technically get allowed to coach because of the outside distractions. And I was around during that time and it was so much going on that everybody didn't get to see. You get what I'm saying? Like even the start of the next season was when I tweeted out, Nash only has 10 games to make this happen.
Right.
And he was gone by 8.
It was crazy how quickly that
happened.
It
was a lot of situations where, guys just weren't happy and they felt like, it just wasn't the right situation. So when you got those different distractions off the court, man, it's hard to succeed on the court.
Yeah, I thought there was real good like vulnerability from honestly all 3 of them throughout the 2 hours of conversation. They did a really good job with that pod. So not to have this podcast recommend another podcast, but I really if you love hoop,
if we're gonna recommend any podcast, man, make sure you check out Centerfold. Make sure you check out Waz Speaks. Make sure you check out any podcast on Count the Dings because those are 5-star podcasts with quality care and community. Make sure you rate, subscribe, and review on YouTube and on any streaming app.
There you go. And I think it's only fair now that LeBron and Steve Nash have to recommend Count the Dings after we gave them a promo. So I feel like it's only fair. It's only fair. Trey, I think that's it. I think we're now at this part of the offseason where I don't know if we need to do a deep dive on Kelly Olynyk going to the Spurs. I don't think we have to do that right now.
No, I don't think we have to cover everything, but thank you for everybody that is rocking with us and that continues to follow the content, supporting myself and Mike and many others that share this platform. Shouts to Jerv as always, producing on the ones and twos, making his availability for us. And yeah, man, we're just gonna continue to watch the league closely, talk about the game, and you know, when season ramps back up, then we'll be able to get, you know, more episodes, more guests, and pinpoint these things.
There we go. Thanks for hanging out with us. We'll be back, you know, sometime post summer league. We'll be back. But yeah, shouts to Jerv, and we'll see you guys next time.